So, thank you everybody for joining us on Sticks at the Shore. As you can see, I am here today joined by Sebastien Decoppet from Cavalier. What's up, Sebastien?
No, good. Thank you for having me. I appreciate that. At the
Yeah, man.
warehouse Friday. It's not too bad.
All right. Yeah, it's as you can see behind me, it's a gorgeous day again in New Jersey. I swear to God, every time I call you, I'm having a gorgeous day, so I gotta call you more
Yeah, it's
often.
it's really not bad. Yeah, no, it's the
No.
problem is it's similar here, but it's just unbearably hot. So I'm
Oh
happy
yeah.
to be inside and not outside.
Yeah. I mean, we had a little bit of humidity yesterday. It was like 80s, but it was just super humid. It was just a really disgusting day out. But today, like kind of the humidity went away, and we just left with a gorgeous sunny, early, almost summer day.
Yeah, it looks amazing. Looks amazing. It reminds me a little bit. The whole area there, the weather reminds me a lot of Switzerland, where I grew up in. Right? It's
Yeah.
very same, and the winters are cold, but and you get a bit of snow and everything. But in summer, you have that, like, especially spring, you get that crisp green that just pops everywhere, and the flowers and the stuff, and you feel like everybody is coming back to life or something from
Oh
from
yeah.
from the winter, like the
Yeah.
winter depression or something.
I love it. It's the greatest time of year. But so just a quick story for everybody. Me and Sebastien actually talked the other day, and unfortunately, because I'm a newbie at learning how to record things, uh we didn't get any audio. We got video, we got no audio recorded. So this is Sebastien Decoppet take two. So like I said, again, I supremely appreciate the fact that you took
Yeah,
time out of
of
your
course.
busy day to come on and chat with us for a little bit and and tell us about your brand.
We
So
all know shit happens, right?
I think everybody wants to know just like how you got involved with the cigar brand Cavalier, because I've heard on a couple of your other interviews that you really just kind of started from nothing.
Yeah, from scratch. Yeah, very much from scratch, and as a kid too. A kid, legal, say legal age. I like to
Yeah,
specify because you never know with tobacco.
of
But yeah,
course.
so I'm originally from Switzerland, right, from Geneva, and I just got interested in cigars, and I was looking into something more meaningful to do out of life for me, right? I needed something that was figure out what would be fulfilling, and when you're that young, it's hard. But I was blessed to find an interest in cigars, and I said, if I can learn about it, maybe I can do something about it. So when I was about 22 years old, I quit my job. I sold everything I had, the car and all the little bits and things that I had accumulated through the
Mhm.
few years, and took a plane ticket and just left for Central America. And so at 22, I left for Central America. I landed in Honduras. The plan, and it evolved a bit, but the original plan was to jump from one place to another: Honduras, Nicaragua, Dominican Republic, Cuba, Costa Rica, et
Yeah.
cetera. All
So
the
all the
countries.
big places, yeah. So all the big places that,
Yeah,
produce tobacco and cigars.
yeah, exactly. Try to grab as much knowledge because, well, obviously, as you see by the start of the story, I wasn't born in tobacco, right? So you need to start somewhere. And so my thought was maybe I can figure out something if I go to all those countries. Maybe people are going to show me bits and pieces, and I can put something together and have somewhat of a base understanding of what it really means to make cigars and what it is. Cigars, not just a final product that you see on the market. And that turned into a pretty much different situation where when I landed in Honduras, when I finally got to Danlí, because obviously nothing goes easy, right? So it's the kind
Of
of thing, you
course.
go somewhere in the world you've never been, you don't speak the language, and of course,
Mm-mm.
because it's already easy, they lose your luggage, and then all this kind of shit. So after a few days, half of my luggage recouped, pairs of shoes missing, all those kind of things, i I remember I was in Tegucigalpa, the capital city, of Honduras, and I go to the
Yeah.
hotel at the reception, and I tell that girl, I'm like, hey, I need to go to Danlí. Where's the train? And she just looks at me and laughs. She's like, there's no train here in Honduras. I'm like, what? Yeah, there was one on the coast for Chiquita Banana,
Yeah.
but definitely no train. I was like, oh fuck, how the fuck do I get there then? They're like, oh, bus. I was like, oh yeah, nice, I'm dead now. That's those tiny, if for anybody that has been in Central America or stuff like this, there are those tiny little buses.
Hmm.
Um, and the drivers are absolute maniacs. Absolute fucking maniacs.
Yeah.
But anyways, I survived apparently that first trip. I got to Danlí, and that first day, I happened to meet a person called Arin Perez.
Okay.
Arin, I didn't know it at the time, is Nestor Plasencia's nephew, part of part of the Plasencia family, if you want,
Yeah.
indirect family, and he just, he had a factory, so he showed me his. I was like, oh, this is amazing. He saw I was like a kid in a candy store, I guess. So he just said, hey, jump in the car with me again. I'll show you something else. I said, yeah, why not? Why not?
Yeah.
Got in the car, and I was just watching everything was new. Like, everything was new. The place was new. The counter was new. The cigar. I didn't know anything about anything, so I was just looking at everything, all excited, discovering stuff. And we pull in front of that massive entrance, and I didn't see the writing on the side of it because I was too busy being excited, watching, looking
Yeah.
at everybody and every little leaf or something that was moving. And
Hmm.
they open the door. We go in. We come down the car. There's a group of men just standing there, and one face was fairly familiar, but I didn't really know why.
Yeah.
And we start talking. That person introduces himself and just give me his hand and says, Nestor Plasencia.
Wow.
Like,
That's
oh, okay.
awesome.
Oh,
That's
okay.
cool.
Okay. We're talking now.
Yeah, there you go.
So yeah, that was the whole thing, right? For someone that had nothing to do with the industry, that was big. That was really big. And one thing that I will never forget is not only did the family offered me to stay, so I stayed with Arin and learned with all of them. Spent about a year working in fabricas and everything here to learn. But one thing I'll never forget is the kindness of this family, right?
Yeah.
Just to just give it. So that's more or less how it started. I got the chance to be able to, get these people to open the door for me, to show me, to provide me with knowledge, everything they could, right? And then from there, I felt like it was time, and made those first, after working for a year in factories in different areas and everything, a little bit of
Yeah.
everything, right? People think about rolling, but think about putting cigars in cello, think about putting bands on cigars, think about doing masos, think about processing, right? Fermentation, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The list goes on and on and on. And so
Yeah.
going through all this, I had a pretty clear idea of what I would do if I were to do a brand to start. And one day, Adine came back to me and said, with you being here, if you want to do something about what you're learning, just let me know. We'll do something. I said,
That's
oh shit.
awesome.
Okay. So we
But I mean,
came up with the
it's
idea of blend
it's
that actually eventually became the White Series, which was the first cigar. So that's more or less
that's
my first steps in the industry, right?
that's absolutely fantastic. I mean, to learn from like a legend like Nestor himself is like I couldn't even imagine. Like that's like a dream come true for like anybody who's looking to get into the business. That's like you got like a living legend.
Oh, the whole family is absolutely incredible, and there is the extent of the family. Everything I met so far, just every time, just blows me out of the water on how kind and simple and true and real they are. And
Yeah,
giving without asking in return is pretty rare.
of
It's
course.
very fucking rare,
I
and that's what
wish I wish there were more people in the world like that these days.
the world would probably be a better place. Right?
Absolutely.
And people, when you think about it, the name Arin is one I spent most of the time with, and
Yeah.
people might not realize, but he's not someone who likes to be in front of things or seen or anything. But to give you an idea, right now he's in charge of raw materials for one of the major corporation of the industry.
Yeah.
It's someone that has just, that little bit of knowledge, those kind of guys. And he's in,
Yeah.
he's still young. He's end of 30s, I think, just under 40. If I'm not mistaken. But very knowledgeable, very, very interesting family, great people. So yeah, that was really the first few steps.
So then fast forward a little bit. How did Cavalier come to be? How did Cavalier Genève become a brand and the Gold Diamond?
So Cavalier started without the Gold Diamond. It was something that lasted for a little bit, but we weren't, we were very fresh, very young, so it wasn't something that we hadn't spread as much as we are today. It's still in the infancy stage, I want to say, but
yeah,
it was much more baby stage at the time. So we had the original brand were only the white series, only 3 sizes, medio, which basically disappeared from the catalog nowadays.
mm-hmm.
Elegantes, which is closest to the Robusto, and then the Diplomat, which is a 5.5 by 56.
Okay.
Those were the 3 sizes. The only things we were doing: 20 count cabs, white boxes, gold diamond pattern all over it, not the ones you see nowadays. And here we were in Switzerland with that brand called Cavalier, a horse and a man on the band and on the box, and actually Cavalier, the horseman in French.
Yeah.
If you translate, is Cavalier. That's the reason why the brand is called Cavalier, is that horse and the man. And that was a design made by a dear friend I made here in Danlin, Honduras, where I'm right now, right at warehouse.
Yeah.
That I spent a lot of time with. He's the, for the little backstory, the personal story, he is a guy that found me my first apartment when I was living here, because I was living at the hotel, and after me going every day to his bar and have cigars with him and everything, he was like, "Where the fuck do you live?" At the hotel. So, "You've been here for a month. You're crazy. Just grab an apartment." I'm like, "I don't know how it works. I don't know how." He's like, "No worries. I'll find you something." The next day I had an apartment.
There you go.
Right. And if you go even further, he is the one that introduced me to the person that became eventually my wife, right? Those kind of things. So he really played a big role in my life. He's also the reason why my brand is named the way it is, Cavalier. And yeah, I ended up using that logo and everything. At first, he didn't want to sell it to me, so I didn't want to use it. A bit too stubborn people, just trying to find an agreement. He wanting to, it's pretty simple. You work, you do something that has a value, right? Tell me what the value is of what you're offering.
Of
I'll
course.
pay you if I'm okay with it. And he was like, no, it's free. I remember him telling me something. And then again, mind that I was 22, maybe 23 at the time, a kid that had not done shit. And he when we were talking about that, I was like, how much you want for the drawing? Because it was a drawing, right?
Yeah.
He said, so you're telling me that you're going to put my artwork and for it to become your brand and put it all over the world? I'm like, well, that's the idea, but we're not here. We're I can't promise anything. We're not there yet. But that's the idea. That's the hope. And he's like, no, that's for free. You can have it. And that's where the conversation became. It started. Where I was like, I can't take it for free. You worked. How much you want for it? And he was like, no, it's for free. And so I didn't take it. And the reason why it became what it became is that when I was back in Switzerland trying to figure out a name for the company and the brand, cigars ready and everything, the first order, but I had no idea what it was going. Actually, the first order came with me with no bands in bundles. I mean, but I had all that. I just couldn't figure out a name. And sadly, one morning I woke up. His name was David Rojas. To a lot of messages that he had passed. He was under 35 in his early 30s in a car accident. So I said, you know what? Now I'm doing abstraction of the sad part of the story, right? I said, you know what? He did so much, and he meant so much for me during that year, that I'll take my friend with me on the adventure, and that's where Cavalier became Cavalier. But that was the original thing, no gold diamond. So fast forward, gold diamond, right? Let me put it in a very simple way. we were brand new in an industry. Nobody ever heard of us.
Yeah.
Nobody gives a shit. Let's be honest. Nobody gives a shit. Which completely normal. We're waiting and trying to figure out, we're building the original client base. We're just in Switzerland waiting to figure out what was the next step for the brand. How do we make the brand recognizable, understandable, something that people can relate to, something that people can, more importantly, just remember.
Yeah.
And we couldn't figure out how. And one day, the person who became my wife later, that worked with me at the time, Aileen, told me, I got it. I know what we're doing. I was like, what the hell are you talking about? She's like, we're gonna put gold. We're gonna put gold on the cigars. I looked at her. There you go. Absolutely, fucking not. That was it. And she's like, no, you don't understand. I'm not. I was like, we're not covering our cigars in gold. It's not my thing. That just doesn't translate for me. You know, I'm very specific about my tobaccos. I love tobacco. I just don't want to do that. And she's like, no. She was at the time cleaning the boxes of those white series, taking away the gold diamond pattern. You still will find some remains of it on the tapas, but the lid, but the rest of the box is clean, just Cavalier Genève, etc. And so she said, I'm doing this right now. Why don't we take that gold diamond that the original adopters, the early adopters had already seen, and turn that into a symbol that can become the brand? And that just clicked. And we said, gold pattern, gold diamond pattern, let's do a gold diamond band on the cigars. So we started looking for gold, et cetera, and the rest is history, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing that, you know, you turn just a shape into something that symbolizes like your brand. Like you see it on everything that you put out for your company. Like it's on your shirt, it's on the mural behind you on the wall. I think at one point, I even saw a gold cigar punch ring that you had or something. It was like a diamond ring punch where you could punch your cigars. The most ingenious thing I think I've ever seen, by the way.
I appreciate that. So yeah, actually a little story for the gold ring. So the ring is a concept that we came up with. I'm very difficult with swag because most of the time I'm not interested in it. When it's clothing, I like it because I wear it.
I love clothing all the time.
Another cutter lighter, we have had some. It's just not something that gets it just doesn't get me going. So the question was always, what do we do to make something that's a bit more interesting for me at least? And we've done a few things, license plates, and we're working on more. We did unique bags, custom leather bags made here in Honduras. We do a few like drops here and there and give away and stuff like this. And we came up with that concept of founder's ring, with the gold diamond, like a family ring, right? And said that's some shit that I would wear. That's something that I'd be excited about. It's expensive as fuck, but let's do it. Of
course.
And so the way we do it is giveaway or special projects only. It's a very few amount of year, between 2 and probably 4 year maximum. All of them are numbered one after the other. They are actually all solid gold. It's no plating, no nothing. It's solid gold. And they're made to the measure of the finger of the person that wins the contest or whatever it is. So let's say we run a contest, you win, we get in touch with you, you decide if you want your initials, if you want what you want engraved in it. We engrave it, we put the number, and we send it to you to your dimension, we custom make it. So that's it's one of the items. That's probably one. It's if not, it's definitely the item that I think I'm the most fond of. And I wish we could do more of them. It's just I mean it's literally solid gold, so it's expensive. Yeah.
Well, we don't, like I said, you don't want to flood the market with it, but still, like I said, when I was like doing a lot of research on Cavalier and I was starting to get into the Cavalier brand. And I thought I saw online this just ring with the diamond punch on it. I was like, that is the fucking coolest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. I was like, see, you come up with some shit like that, like, nope, that I've never seen any other single cigar company come up with. It's absolutely outstanding.
No, I appreciate that. I'm glad to hear. You know, it's always great to hear also feedbacks from people that don't have their nose in it like all day long, right? Because you start,
Yeah,
you know how it is. Everybody knows how it is. If you look at what you do as a, for a living, or you're in it every day, day after day, and you
yeah,
kind of your impression of things sometimes can become a bit biased, right?
yeah,
It's not that's a problem. So it's all I appreciate the feedback.
yeah, no problem, man. And now me and you talked before, and one of the leaves that you have a very big fondness of is the Viso, right?
Yeah.
And so when you are like looking to develop new cigars, where do you get your inspiration from? Like, how do you come up with your blends?
Yeah, there's several ways. You know, it's not an exact science or something. I think you would lose the soul in what you do if you had that one way of doing things, right?
Yeah,
It was always A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D. Then it's just you're selling pens, you're making pens, you're making, you know, vacuum cleaners, you're making this kind
yeah,
of stuff. So I think the key is always to let the inspiration run. Something has to call your attention. It might be a tobacco, it might be a name, it might be just like a base concept of something.
yeah,
Um, and then you have to be driven by this to create something or align all the other elements to that one thing. If it's a tobacco, most of the time what happens to me is it starts itching. Like I might have smoked something or heard of something or tried
yeah,
something from something else, and during a few months it sticks with me, and I'm like, shit, there is something I really want to know more about. And then so when that's the case, start thinking about it, you know, sourcing a little bit, try it on its own, figure out if first of all it translates into,
yeah,
is it really something that interests me, or was it just, you know, a phase of something? And then from there, the one thing that is important for me to mention is there's a lot of things out there that mention, you know, master blender or blender or the one guy, you know, it's the one ring to rule them all. It's just not it. To me it just doesn't translate. I don't like this. I think it's, I'm sorry, but I understand maybe if you've been a, you know, legacy family in the industry that you have that, but for anything newer I think it's bullshit. It just
yeah,
is. I think at least for us, how that goes is we're a team, we're a good few people. I usually get the original inspiration, and then I go to the team and say, I want to do something about this. That's my
right,
idea of how it should look like. That's what, you know, let's say I really want to do something with tobacco from Ometepe. I want to do something more Ometepe focused. Let's
yeah,
work around it. That's where I come from the idea. That's what I think. That's where I think we should go. And then we all sit and we all bring stuff to the table, and then it
yeah,
becomes really a teamwork to make something that is, I think, worth bringing to the market, that is worth sharing with people. Because again, there's things that I won't see, or I might think of a tobacco to mix it, you know, to blend with it, that people be would just not translate, right? Then Raul comes in and says, well, you know, instead of that Costa Rica, let's put some Paraguay, or instead of that Mexico, let's put some Pennsylvania, or, you
yeah,
know, those kind of things. And we start playing with it. And same thing with designs. I come with ideas. I go to Aileen. I'm like, look, I've been thinking of this. Show a few base ideas, show images, inspiration, and stuff, and she'll get back to me with, you know, interesting. I see where you're going, but I think you're missing this, that, and then we can
yeah,
start. So teamwork is really the key of it. I can
yeah.
go through it. Okay. I see the team members just trying to go around the camera. There you are. There was someone just stepped in with a kid before wanting to say hi. I was like, oh yeah, no, probably not a good idea. You know, friends just popping into the office, or
Yeah,
or team members and shit. I'm
yeah,
literally sitting in the couch area of the one of the offices here,
Yeah.
on the side of the warehouse. So I'm the nuisance. How do you say that in English?
Yeah. Nuisance. Yeah.
Nuisance for the team right now because they can't work because of me.
And it's funny that you were talking about your blends, because I know the other day you were talking about Viso, and
Yeah.
I knew we had rescheduled this. So this is not our first go round actually. And I went out and I was able to purchase a bunch of the limited edition, the Viso, the B2 Viso Jalapa.
Oh yeah.
So I was able to, from I think it was 2022 was like that special limited edition. So I was able to get a bunch of those, and I was able to find one of, I forget what year it was, but it was the Limited Cigar Association, the PACA.
Oh, the Baca, yeah. Interesting story about the Baca, and sorry to cut you. We made that cigar probably 3 years ago now, if I'm not mistaken. I want to say about 3 years. Anywhere between 2 and 3 years ago, and I would have to check the date, but it's been a while. And then we sat on it for a while, and then we shipped it to Privana LCA. They sat on it for a long time, and then one day I have a customer in Norway tell me, "Hey, I just received that," and he sent me a picture. I was like, "Motherfucker, I didn't know it was released." And so I contacted him, like, "Hey, what happened?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, it's just a few that got it, and then we'll release it." I was like, "Holy shit." It's been a while, and so it's an interesting project.
So I haven't been able to smoke my pocket yet, but I had the Viso limited edition 22, and it's absolutely such a fantastic stick.
I appreciate that.
The one I've been looking for is the Odd Job. Everywhere I go, it is sold out everywhere.
Now the Odd Job, that was another LCA project. You know, it's a fun one because it's raining. I hope it's not gonna fuck up the sound too much because
we're good.
It's raining. If not, you know what? I'll try to bring the phone a bit closer. I'll see here. See if it's better. The Odd Job was a project that took a bit to get together, but once we had it, was rich, heavy, nice and dark cigar, beautiful profile. And the funniest thing is, ever since, most of the people coming, "Hey, can you do a special project for us and everything?" They're like, "Do you think you can replicate something that would have that same sense as the Odd Job?" Like, no, I wish it was a beautiful thing. That wrapper took forever to process to get to that point. But yeah, I miss that cigar. I really miss that cigar.
Like I said, and a buddy of mine who has a lounge south of me, he's like, if you can ever find it in a tobacco shop or anywhere in a cigar shop, he's like, buy just as many as they have, because it's absolutely just an amazing cigar.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
But so I know me and you talked. What is one of the most rewarding aspects of owning a cigar company?
Oh, I'm sorry. What did you say?
What has been the most rewarding aspect in owning a company?
Most rewarding.
Yeah.
Most rewarding aspect, and hopefully I said the sound is okay because it's crazy.
Now you're good.
That rain.
I can hear you.
Literally crazy loud. You know, it's a warehouse where we created extra rooms and everything for office and everything. So it just hits that metal layer, and it just resonates in the whole thing. But the most rewarding of it is, you know, we come from, as you said early on, we come from nothing. Cavalier was nothing. I wasn't from the industry. It wasn't, so it was tough. I mean, business is always tough. There's ups and downs. There's stuff you need to fight against yourself more than anything else. But the hardest part is we really, when I started with Aileen, we really didn't have anything. We didn't have anything to the point where, and I had partially mentioned this to you, but to the point where when I started, I didn't have the money to pay her, and not even, we're not even talking about paying myself, right? But paying her. So what she had to do is, she was living here in Danlí when I was in Switzerland, and she would work as a teacher in the morning,
Yeah.
so that in the afternoon she could go to the different providers, cigars, box factories, etc., to check on production, make sure everything was on track, everything was, you know, the quality was there the way we wanted, etc., etc.
Yeah.
But because I didn't have the money to pay her and she just had that teacher job, she couldn't afford, you know, the factories and the providers were in different places in the city. So she couldn't afford to take taxis. And think the fact that the taxi was at the time 20 lempiras. 20 lempiras, which is a local money, is about 80 cents. She couldn't afford that.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't pay her. So
Yeah.
the proudest thing and the most rewarding thing is, you know, nowadays we have a factory. It's 9 years later, we have a factory, we have a warehouse, we have operations in the US, in Switzerland, for the rest of the world, and we employ, it goes up and down depending on the production, especially the factory, right? You have people that show up, then you have people that don't show up and come back, etc., etc. There's never a flat number, but we're talking about roughly probably 90 to 110 people full time. And so going from struggling the two and knowing that she had to do those kind of things to be able to offer opportunities to the people that work with us is the one thing that really makes everything worth it. It's very special.
That's awesome. That's amazing. So a couple more questions. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know you guys want to get back to work. Are you coming out to the East Coast anytime soon? I'm on the beautiful Jersey Shore. I'm 10 minutes from the beach. You plan on coming to the East Coast anytime soon?
Yep. So I'm actually gonna be in the area between New York City, New Jersey, and PA. I think it's the first full week of July. I think it is.
All right.
So that will be my next trip in the area. So hopefully we'll see each other then. Have a cigar.
Definitely. I'll definitely put it on my calendar. And then the last thing, what are you looking towards for the future? Anything you're looking to put out soon? Any super secret cigars you want to tell the people about?
That's always a tough question, right? There is always stuff in the process, always the creative side of things. And most of the time there's not much that can be said, but what I can say is, as every year, we're currently in the process preparing for the release of the yearly limited edition, not the limited releases, but limited edition, which is something very special to us. It's our lab. It's something that we pride ourselves to really make limited because it's limited, and find special things and work with special tobaccos, etc., etc. So I'm excited, and this year is, all I can say, it's a brand new size, something we never done before on top of it. So it's going to be something special.
All right.
We were planning on July, but it's probably going to be a bit later, probably August. I'm not 100% sure yet.
All right.
It depends on how everything runs, right? When the cigar is going to be ready, we'll see. You know, they need to sit, and we need to figure out the right timing. So I'm still waiting to find that moment, and I think it's probably translating to August. Probably. And then there's a few more things. You know, I found some tobaccos that I wanted to work with for a long time. And so we're processing it, that specific tobacco, and I think it's going to be a regular release. Limited by the availability of the specific tobacco. It's something that I've been running after for a few years, and I finally got an agreement where we have a set amount per year that I can source. So I will limit the production for that, not because I want to, but just because it is. It's still going to be core. It's enough to make a core out of it. And I think that the tobacco will be ready later this year. So I'm trying to figure out if the release is going to be end of this year or early next year, first quarter. I can't say much more about it, but it's definitely something that I'm hyped about because it's something that I've been hoping for at least 2 years. So,
wow. Yeah. That's great. Well,
Yeah.
let me tell you, the limited edition 2023 is absolutely one of my like top 3 cigars right now. I think I literally must have bought like 3 or 4 boxes.
Oh shit. No, I
It's
appreciate that.
literally it's one of my favorites. The flavor profile on the 2023 was absolutely fantastic.
It was an interesting blend to work on. And I'm very glad that you like it. Very glad that you do.
And like I said, I keep telling you, if you ever need an extra tester, this is your guy right here.
I like it. You have a seat just here. I have extra space if you want.
There. Oh, yeah, book me a ticket. I'm ready to go.
You're
So,
welcome. You're always welcome to come down. I
like I
appreciate you,
said,
bro.
I would love to come and see the factory and come and visit and meet Eileen and just kind of hang out. And, we're looking to hopefully get down to South America, take a little trip, check out Honduras, I know we have one planned next year for the Dominican Republic. So we're going to go into Santiago and try to look up some of the old guys there and, kind of experience that, go to Miami. We're leaving out of Miami. So I know there's a big Calle Ocho is down there. They have a lot of the big cigar producers down there as well. But we'd love to come and visit just to hang out, and hopefully we can catch each other when you're on the East Coast. You'll have to let me know your schedule and we'll figure something out. And like I said, thanks for coming on the show. Like I said, you've been super gracious. You sent me a gift box and it's much appreciated. I'm wearing your t-shirt, as you can see today. I had to for the
Love
interview,
it.
but and I'm enjoying
Love
it.
it.
I drink my coffee every morning out of the mug, and thank you so much, Sebastian. And again, thank you for rescheduling, because I know the first time didn't go as planned,
No, of course.
but we got it this time. And like I said, we'd love to check in with you in the future just to see how things are going.
I appreciate you, Rob. Thank you, and honored to be the first one. I'm looking forward to. Let me know. I'm looking forward to see you, and if you ever come down, you know you have a home here.
I appreciate it, brother.
You guys have a great. Well, you guys, you have a great day, and everybody watching too. Actually.
Bye, guys.